Welcome to the Prophecy Club. Our topic today is three questions. How do illegal immigration, gun confiscation, and the death of the dollar all three relate? It's all part of the devil's plan. And I must say, for the last couple of broadcasts, God has been very specific in what he wants me to say. I started yesterday's program, I started on two different topics. I kept getting yawned. I thought, okay, what do you want me to say? And same thing happened again today. No, so he changed the topic. This is what he wants me to talk on. And you have to understand, I live in Allen, Texas. That's where there were just 9 people killed. I was outside Saturday afternoon at 3:36 when I heard these ambulance sirens going off. I live 5 minutes away from where that shooting happened. I could hear ambulance start going off, sirens going off, one after another. What in the world is going on out there? Of course, it was several hours before I found out what had happened. I think it all ties together, and that's what he wants me to try to bring you to today. Now, it's going to be long. I understand if you got to click away. But if I don't lay this scriptural foundation, you won't get where I'm going. So hopefully you'll stick with me. Okay. First of all, we're going to be talking about illegal immigration. Millions are crossing our borders. And I don't have to tell you that. So the very instant that they cross our border without our permission, they've already broken our laws. So they're not good people. They're going to continue to break our laws. If they were good people, they would do it legally. And many of them are military age, and they are given a cell phone upon entry. So what is to stop evil from making a deal, saying, hey, you take the cell phone, we call, you show up, you do what we tell you to do, or we'll deport you? How many would say you got a deal? Then the call comes, what is to stop evil people in high places from training and then commanding these people to go out, blow up dams, bridges, electrical stations, oil refineries, not to mention rapes, robberies, and burglary? So, illegal immigration. The scripture says specifically, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars. Now, let me show you something very important in the scriptures. I've said for a long time, Jeremiah 50 and 51, and by the way, me and Dimitri both agree that both of these chapters are all talking about America. Now, much of it is a replay because it was originally also prophesied to the first Babylon, but we are the second Babylon, and much of it, and I'm going to show you several specific places where it's talking about America and America only. Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will raise up against Babylon, that would be America, and against them that dwell in the midst of them, and rise up against me a destroying wind. Well, they say that the wind gets up to 200 miles an hour when there's a nuclear bomb go off. But in the case of scalar wave right now, there's been all kinds of tornadoes and hurricanes. We are being hit with a destroying wind. And I will send unto Babylon fanners. I looked the word up in the Hebrew. It's talking about foreigners or illegal immigrants. I will send into America illegal aliens, is what he's saying, that shall fan her. In other words, they're going to destroy her, and shall empty her land. In other words, like caterpillars, they just come in and they'll just eat and destroy everything. These people coming into our nation are not the best. These are people that are, as Trump says, they're emptying the jails, the psych wards. These are rapists, murderers, killers, many of them. And if they're not that, they're military-age men ready to go to war inside of our nation. Now, I haven't been down there. I can't prove that, but I think you'd probably agree that's exactly what's happening. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Now, I looked up that word in the Hebrew, round about, and it's saying that they're going to be our neighbors. In other words, they are within our borders. God has already put our enemy within our borders. God is bringing this nation down. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifted up himself and brigadine, and spare not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her host. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, as I said. It also is a repeating prophecy. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God. Meaning, when America falls, Israel does not fall. And I believe I can show you that there's going to be a time that the Spirit of God will begin to speak to his people to leave America in masses. That's one of the things I want to do, and I'm going to give you a disclaimer. Anytime I say what I'm about to say, I have to say I cannot guarantee we're ever going to get the money, drill for, or hit oil in Israel. But when we get the money, when we go and find oil in Israel, one of the things I believe he wants me to do is to buy an airline. I didn't say an airplane, an airline. And I will be using that to fly Christians and Jews from around the world back to Israel. And of course, the people at the top of the list are going to be people that are on our database that have been supporters and part of Prophecy Club for many years. They'll get first dibs on the airplane to move to Israel. Israel had not been forsaken, nor Judah her God, for the Lord of hosts, though her land was filled with sin, and the Holy One of Israel. So even though they haven't repented, they haven't turned to Jesus yet, he still forgives them because he has been heaping trouble upon them for some 2,000 years. They have served their sentence, so to speak. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, America, and deliver every man his soul. So it's telling us there is a time, not yet, there is a time when God is going to tell Christians to leave this country. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. In other words, he's going to bring justice. As you have done, so it's done to you. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. Now, that means she used to be a good nation, a golden cup in the Lord's hand. But now she is making the earth drunk. And the word wine, see, I don't think that Adam and Eve ate an apple. I think they ate a grape. I did a search throughout all the Bible. There's only like 8 verses that have the word apple in them, but there's like 350 verses that have the word wine or wineskin or wine press. Wine causes a lot of the problems throughout history. I believe it was a grape, and when he says wine, he's talking about sin. All the earth drunken, we made the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. The nations have watched our movies, listened to our music. They've read our filthy porn magazines. And so they followed us like the Pied Piper away from Jesus. That's why he destroys us. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. God would have healed us, tried to heal us many times, but Americans wouldn't hear of it. We would have healed Babylon, America, but she is not healed. Now here it is. This is the second time. Forsake her and let us go everyone into his own country. Now, for example, if your ancient ancestors were from France, it may be telling you to go to France. If they're from Germany, maybe you go to Germany. But if you're a Christian, I believe it's telling it to go to Israel. Jeremiah 51, verse 50. I don't think I'm going to be reading it today, but go check it out. Let every man... how's it word? I can't remember right now. But anyway, Jeremiah 51, 50. Let's go on. The Lord hath brought forth our righteousness. Come and let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. So if you're a servant of the Lord, if you want to continue to serve him, he's saying you'll be doing it in Israel. Soon, I believe soon, God is going to start calling masses. See, it's one of the things I want to do. When we hit oil in Israel, at some point, hopefully, I get an in with them. And I'd like for you to give me a plot of land to bring Christians and Jews back from around the world back to here. And a couple of things I'd like to ask is anybody I point to gets citizenship and entrance into the country, obviously. I'll say, we'll fly them here, we'll put them up, we'll feed them, we'll get them housing, clothing, we'll get them going. Let us declare in Zion the work of the Lord our God. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord has raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes. Iran is the Medes, actually the Persians. They're Persians. And Iraq is the Medes. So that spirit of the kings of the Medes, Iraq, they would love to come over and attack America. Set up the standard. Now, throughout the scriptures, when God is about to bring judgment, he lifts up the standard. And that standard would be the Ten Commandments. So God is lifting up the standard, saying, America, this is my Ten Commandments. How are you doing? And the answer would be, not so good. O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. See, that's America. Covetousness means you can never get enough. And that's the way many of our business people are. They just can't make enough money. They can never be satisfied. They forget the poor. They forget the needy. They don't go to church. I mean, most of the churches these days are living on fumes because the wealthy men, they don't go to church anymore. The rich people, they don't need God. It used to be around the turn of the century, great big churches went up because the rich men, rich women, were in the churches. They're not there anymore, so the churches starved to death. The Lord of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars. That's the illegal immigrants coming into our nation right now. And they shall lift up a shout against thee. It means they're not only going to be speaking against the nation, they're also going to be fighting against the nation once in. Now, I do not have time. I've got to skip these next 4 verses if I'm going to get where I want to go here. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. Meaning, as America falls, Israel does not fall. Thou art my battle axe. Israel is his battle axe and weapons of war. For with Israel he will bring all the nations down to attack Israel, and there he will destroy them on the mountains of Megiddo, in the valley of Jezreel. With thee I will break to pieces the horse of the rider, and with thou will break pieces the chariot and his rider. All of them. I want to read the next 3 verses, but I got to keep moving here. Now let's talk about gun confiscation, because this is going to fit together. Okay, so the evil is bringing, actually it's the hand of God, but evil is doing it. God is allowing it, bringing illegal immigrants, bad people, into our nation. Gun confiscation. Dangerous people should not own guns. I think everybody would agree with that. A person that doesn't know how to control themselves, I mean, somebody's a weirdo or wacko, or if they can't control themselves, they should not own guns. I agree with that. But the problem is we don't know who is not dangerous. So that only leaves us with one conclusion. We got to take away all of the guns. That's what they're going to say. There are 3 possible solutions. Either we confiscate all weapons, everyone carry a gun, or we put Bible back in the schools and businesses. I vote for number 3, but you know which one they're going to be doing is certainly not allowing everybody to carry a gun. But I see that at least someplace in there. I think somehow they're causing, they have a way to get people to go out and shoot and kill people. They have a way. I don't know if it's MK Ultra. I don't know if it's MK Naomi. I don't know if it's some of the mind control. I don't know if it's water torture, if it's sleep deprivation, if it's some kind of a pill, an injection, a chip they put in the head. I don't know what they're doing. But somehow, or bribery or blackmail. You know, I've got your child here. Unless you go out and shoot a bunch of people, I'm going to kill them. I don't know what it is. But I do, in my heart, I can't prove it. That's their strength part. But in here, I know that somehow they have a way to cause people to go out and just shoot people. Nobody in their right mind goes out and just starts killing people. I mean, you know, Bambi got a lot of the hunters to not even go out and shoot and kill deer. But nowadays, it's okay to go out and shoot and kill humans. Now, that fits in with death of the dollar. Pastor Shane warned, I'm not going to read all of it, but the very bottom 3 lines says, when they start seeing a devaluation of the dollar, that's in progress now, it's going to cause major rioting in the streets. I saw riots in the major cities, signs that said, give us our entitlements. I also saw the incredible changes in the prices of currency. I saw silver, not gold, but silver, begin to drastically increase in value, not gold, but silver. We're not giving financial advice here. If you do want financial advice, I'll send you to cornerstoneassetmetals.com. Those people can give you advice. You don't have to buy anything immediately. Call them. Say, look, here's my situation. What do you think? give me some advice. What do you think? They're Christians, they're prophecy students, and they can give you some advice and help you get some. Okay, anyway, it was literally war. He says, it looked like civil war within our borders. Well, how'd they get inside of our borders? Illegal immigrants. See how it ties together? But it was all over the issue of devaluing money. Well, right now, most of these illegal immigrants coming into our nation are coming here because this is, oh, happy days. We made it into America. We're going to be rich. We're going to be taken care of. And then all of a sudden, the dollar stops. They stop sending out the free food stamps, the free money, and even normal people, even people right now that are peace-loving people, start getting angry. So if you're looking at the average American getting angry, what about these millions of immigrants that have come to America expecting to get a job, expecting to get food and free health care, and all of a sudden, nothing? Can you see that's a problem? Then if you look at what Chris Reed was told, I'm just going to read the one. Riots and civil unrest as citizens demand entitlement checks. That's exactly the same words Shane Warren was told. Then we also have 11 prophecies that say that the dollar is going to fall. That causes problems. Then there's going to be a food shortage that causes more problems. So like Pastor Massey was, I've talked about this. If I do that, then I'm not going to be able to go where I want to go. He just says, basically, he saw that if a person wanted to be safe, they had to have a gun, essentially. I'm not suggesting that anybody hurt anyone, okay? Then Byron Searle, this is part of the first of it, but I'm going to skip on down. I want to get to the point here. He saw 3 rockets. They were probably EMP pulses or rockets. I'm going to skip that. These 3 events caused all the power grids to go down. He's not the only one that's seen that. But I want to skip down to this. He saw utter chaos, looting, murders abound. My children will try to form groups, but they will not succeed. Many perish. During this time, the American dollar will collapse. He's saying the same thing that Shane Warren said. Remember, in the mouth of mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let a thing be established. He said, I saw street gangs will rule the big cities. The military will collapse except for those in hardened bunkers. Okay, so let's just stop for a second. Let's just think. Okay, so whatever it is that causes it, whether it's the death of the dollar, immigrants coming in, all of a sudden it's no longer safe to get outside of our homes. Are you prepared? Think it through. Are you prepared? Do you have a prayer closet? Do you have a copy of the Bible? Do you have water? Do you have a water filter? We recommend Berkey at prophecyclub.com. Matter of fact, we just got a new shipment of Berkeys in. We have them in stock when many people are out of them. Do you have something for an EMP in case some kind of suitcase nuke goes off? Because we know it's going to. It's got like 33 different prophecies say it will. Do you have food? If you need food, we'll send you to josephkitchen.com. That's probably, in my opinion, the best, the cheapest long-term storage food you can get. Most of them are $9,000 to $10,000 to feed one person for a year. Joseph Kitchen, you can do it for about $1,000 per person per year. That's 90% less. During this time, the American dollar will collapse, just like the other guy said. Street gangs rule the big cities. Military collapses. Okay, and that's another thing. Do you have some way to protect yourself other than a rubber band shooter? Are you? See, I can't talk about that because then they'll get me. Okay, so I'll go on here. Now, I'm not going to read all this one. This is a 30-minute dream he had. It's very powerful, very important. But Maurice Sklar, 2014, had this dream. I'm going to skip to the point. I saw the United States seem to crack in two with a giant earthquake right down the middle. Same thing what 6 or 8 other people, I don't know, 10 or 12 other people saw. Crack in two down the middle. I saw the southeastern United States covered with a giant wave of water from the ocean. I saw a massive earthquake, and California seemed to crack off. like a saltine cracker. Great cities along the west coast just fell into the ocean, all the way from Mexico all the way up into Alaska. Now, when that happens, as you can imagine, there was widespread looting, gangs roaming everywhere with guns. The gangs have guns, so we don't want them to take our guns away. But see, that's the plan. They want to have just the gangs, just the bad guys with the guns, and then they can rule over the good guys, right? And that's a point that I'm trying to make today. Widespread looting and gangs roaming about everywhere with guns, stealing whatever food supplies they could find, raping, robbing, killing, pillaging, doing whatever they want. Then I saw what looked like elite riot police by the thousands go into communities and even cities and force the people out of their homes and brought what looked into like concentration camps to help us, you see. And by the way, there's at least 2 others I can think of right now having seen the same thing. Some, but not all of these, quote, police armies, had light blue helmets on. Hundreds of thousands of people were arrested in this way. Many would not cooperate and were simply shot and left dead in their homes. I think Jason Meeks saw one. There was another lady saw the same thing. You don't want to cooperate, you don't want to go, just shoot them and leave them dead. But there were millions of hidden groups that escaped the first wave of these terrible disasters. Revival broke out. And great evangelists and prophets and apostles rose up and began. It's the same thing Shane Warren saw. Preached to thousands outdoors, and many were saved, born again, miracles, provision, multiplication of food, water. Astonishing healings occurred. Millions of people cried out to God, and he heard and answered. Remember, I heard, as the judgment hits, so will my miracles. Miracles like no one has seen, going all the way back to Adam and Eve. That's it. And, sad to say, it might be getting pretty close. I saw multitudes of tribulation saints refusing to renounce Jesus as Lord. They were starving, many of them, but still refused to take the stamp on their bodies so they could eat and live. A couple of headlines from John Paul Jackson. Just a couple of them. You can pause and read them all if you want to. Too big to fail. Fails. Nations bank being pushed. Isn't that what's happening right now? Isn't that could that be tomorrow's headline? It absolutely could be. Next one. Washington, D.C. riots continue. Could that be a headline tomorrow? It sure could. And a record set for a number of cities with riot curfews. Could that be a headline in the next week or so? Could be by the end of the month, couldn't it? Martial law to be extended for 30 more days. We're at the door, my brothers and sisters. We're right there. If you're not prepared, shame on you. If you're not believing this stuff, shame on you. Big regulations hit small banks. Credit markets freeze up. Isn't that what we've been talking about? Credit markets freeze up. They start lowering the credit card limit, and then finally they'll just turn off all the cards. No more car loans, no more house loans. Anybody that gets behind on a car loan, car repossessed, get behind on a house note, house repossessed, would that cause problems? That's what the prophecies say. Look, I'm not trying to scare you. I mean, this is real stuff, and it's real close. The new face of Robin Hood. Flash mobs loot rich neighborhoods. Isn't that what they're doing in some of the downtown markets right now, where they just have 50 or maybe 75 people just run into the same market and just take everything they want, and then they all run out? They've already started that with 1 or 2 businesses here. But this is talking about, apparently they're doing it to whole neighborhoods. Just go in and take whatever they want, flash mob. Now think about that. If 100 people, evil people, maybe even with guns, all of a sudden hit a rich neighborhood and just took everything they wanted. Isn't that what they're talking about here? Isn't this really right here a pattern? Isn't this at our doorstep? I suggest you get prepared. One of the best deals out there to get informed about all of this is go to watchprophecyclub.com. Normally it's $200 a year, but you can get $20 off the annual plan right now by following this. Use the coupon code TPC2023Y. get $20 off of the $200 annual plan down to $180, or you can also scan the QR code in. So I suggest that you just pray and ask God and say, look, what do I need to do to get prepared for what is coming? It's coming. Sad to say, it's coming hard and fast. I'm going to show you something you've never seen or tasted before. I'm doing this impromptu. I just went out to my own bread machine and I pulled this out. This is a loaf I made Saturday. This is my famous raisin, cinnamon, vanilla. This new loaf, the whole loaf would weigh about 3 pounds. So, of course, I've already eaten about half of it. But I want to show you why you have never tasted this. Each one of these slices, you can see how thick it is. One of these slices is a meal. You eat one of these in the morning, one in the afternoon, and not only are you satisfied, you're really satisfied. You're really happy. Cinnamon, raisin, vanilla, and yes, at josephkitchen.com, you can get the recipe. This is an upgraded recipe that I plan to be putting out here as soon as I get a chance. But if you look close, those are raisins, cinnamon, and vanilla all whipped together. You put that into a toaster, put a little bit of butter on that, and, well, it doesn't last long at church. As a matter of fact, they pass by all of the nice donuts and all of the other sweet garbage to get something that's really good for them. Now, what I would suggest you do is start making your own bread, whether you've already got Joseph's Kitchen or whether you haven't, get it. Now, here's what you do. You go to josephskitchen.com. 2 things. 1, you order a machine package. That's the mechanicals to make it. In other words, the grinder that takes the wheat berries, turns it into flour, which you put into the bread machine with 6 other ingredients. Push a button. 2 hours and 20 minutes later, you have a nice hot loaf of whole wheat bread. Won't look like this because this one has raisin, cinnamon, and honey in it. Anyway, extra honey. And the next thing you want to do is decide how much food you want to have. You want to have 6 people 1 year, 4 people 1 year, 2 people 1 year, or just enough for 1 person. All of that is at the price of around $1,000 per person. Get you some homemade whole wheat bread. Why have you never tasted this? Because the grocery stores cannot and will never be able to offer this, because in about 7 to 10 days after you break the wheat berry, it starts going bad. Now, I know that I'm going to have to eat this in the next 7 to 10 days, but I also know it's probably not going to last more than 3 or 4 days. As a matter of fact, it's one of the best things I've ever eaten in my life, and I can't guarantee this. I can't say it legally, but let's put it this way. I've been taken off of my I've been taken off of my high blood pressure pills, and the doctor said that I have low cholesterol now, cut my cholesterol pill in half. And the only thing I can say is over the last year, I started eating whole wheat bread. So there it is, whole wheat bread. josephskitchen.com. Terry Saka with cornerstoneassetmetals.com. So what's going on in the world of finances? Why should they call today?
Well, China has laid out in a speech a few weeks ago exactly what they think of the United States. I haven't seen that in my 55 years. With China and Russia forming these reserve currencies, new reserve currency, we better be prepared because that dollar is going to be in deep trouble and we're going to need assets to protect us from it.
CornerstoneAssetMetals.com. Call them or go online, CornerstoneAssetMetals.com, or call them at 888-747-3309. 888-747-3309. Next is, I'll send you to EMPShield.com. If you use the promo word prophecy, you get a $50 discount. What is that? Well, it looks like this. This is the one that goes into a car, okay? And you put the red wire to the red side of the battery, you put the black wire to the black side of the battery, and the green one attaches to the body of the car. Then you peel it off right back here. Just peel that off, stick it inside of the engine compartment of your car. And the whole point is when the electricity goes off or when some kind of a suitcase or nuclear device goes off, this is supposed to be able to stop that device from destroying every computer chip in your car. Because if every computer chip is destroyed in your car these days, you couldn't possibly replace them all. Throw the car away. So, EMPShield.com, promo code prophecy. Leslie Johnson had a prophecy back in 2011. She says, the Lord says there's going to be something put into the water supply in many cities of the nation. People will begin to get sick, some will die. Get a good, reliable water filter. You will not be able to trust the tap water or the bottled water. You must get something to filter the water you are going to need. That's back in 2011. So if you want it, we suggest you go to prophecyclub.com. You click right here where it says Berkeys. This is what it looks like. Currently, all Berkeys are in stock. The one I have is this guy right here. It's the Crown. It has 8 filters. I recommend you get as much as you can afford, and also recommend you get some extra filters. That's at prophecyclub.com.